Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the community room and welcome to the Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 meeting of the Brooklyn Borough Board. You will notice that we have changed spaces. It's nice to be able to see all of you all and have your name cards out. Couple of notes for the name cards. Instead of raising your hand, you can always just turn your card up like this, and then we can recognize you in this way. What was that? Yeah, whoop-de-doo. It's a big deal. Hopefully it'll save your shoulder a little bit of effort. And it'll also help us get a stack going. So when there are multiple people speaking, we can sort of keep that as we are seeing. You will also notice all of your designees are underneath. So if there's someone who you have as a designee that is not represented in your stack, you probably need to submit another form so that we know that they are someone who can come to this meeting on your behalf. So I would encourage you to check to make sure that all of your designees are represented there, and if not, to get those forms in. Thank you. And then there's a mic to your left. Member Scavo, I recognize you.
Okay, what if their name was on the sign-in sheet, but there's not a card?
Then please make that known to us at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we proceed? Yes.
She didn't put her card up.
Yes, this is correct.
Just wanted to see how I can fix it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes, we can get that updated.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Member Hernandez. Okay, with that, I am going to pass over for the roll call.
All right, I'll just wait for everyone to get settled in. Good evening again, everyone. I am Carol Ann Church, Director of Community Board, under the leadership of our Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. And with me this evening is
Spencer Williams, Director of Land Use and Topography, and I'm serving as chair for this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Spencer. I will start with the roll call. If you're a designee, please just give us your name, say out your name when the principal's name is called. Thank you. Community Board 1, Dialis Fuller. Thank you. Community Board 2. Community Board 3. Community Board 4. Community Board 5. Community Board 6. Community Board 7. Community Board 8. Community Board 9. Community Board 10. Thank you, Stephanie. Community Board 11. Community Board 12. Community Board 13.
Jenny Hernandez, designee.
Thank you. Community Board 14. Community Board 15.
Here.
Community Board 16. Thank you. Community Board 17. Community Board 18. Thank you. Moving to the council members. Wrestler 33. Thank you, Angela. Gutierrez 34. Hudson. Thank you. Osei 36. Thank you. District 37, Councilmember Nurse sent apologies today. 38, Aviles. 39, Hanif. Thank you, Matt. 40, Joseph. 41, Mealy. Thank you. 42, Banks. 43, Zwang.
Present, Stanley A.
Thank you. 44, Felder. 45, Louis. Welcome, Daniel. 46, Narcisse.
Present, Frank Shea.
Thank you, Frank. 47, Brannon. 48, Vertikov. Sasha. 50, Carr. Hi, Nancy. Borough President's office is represented at the head table. We have quorum.
Wonderful. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Agenda is printed.
We have a motion from Member Scavo. Is there a second? Seconded? Okay. All those in favor of approval of the agenda, say aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The agenda is approved. We will now move on to the next item, approval of the minutes from the September 2nd, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion on the minutes from the last meeting? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved from Member Weatherspoon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from a Member Scavo. All those in favor of approval of the minutes from the September 2nd, 2025 meeting, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved. We will now move on to updates from Borough Hall and board members. Okay. Are there any board members who would like to speak first? Represented, yes.
Good evening. I wanted to share the outcome of the Community Advisory Committee meeting held on September 29. The committee voted 2 in favor and 4 against the Coney Island Casino project, which means that the project will not be moving forward. We would like to thank Borough President Antonio Reynoso, Councilmember Justin Brannon, Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton, Assembly Member Alec Brooke-Krasny, and his appointee Marissa Solomon for listening to the Coney Island community and voting against the casino. Our community deserves better, and we will continue to advocate for the positive developments that truly benefit us. In addition, I would like to share that I was elected second vice chair in September, and I look forward to continuing to work with CB13 as well as with all of you to improve the quality of life for all. Thank you. That would be all.
Thank you, Vice Chair Hernandez. And congratulations. Member Campbell, you're recognized.
Good evening, everybody. I would just like to announce on behalf of Community Board 14 that our annual reception will be held on October 30th. It's a fun party. Everybody is invited. Invitations went out to anybody on our list already, and it's also posted on our website. Join us October 30th, 6 to 9 at East Midwood Jewish Center. Address is on the email.
Thank you, Member Campbell. Member Baptiste. Hold on one moment, Member Baptiste. Make sure your mic is on.
Hello?
Yep, now we got you.
We'll try it again. No, I just want to take this opportunity to invite everyone to a town hall that CB9 is conducting regarding the charter amendments. It's scheduled for October 9th, this Thursday, coming up at 7 p.m. It's going to be at MS 61, 400 Empire Boulevard. There is a Zoom link that is available on the board's website, so if anybody wishes to see that as well. So at this, we will have presentations from the, the Commission to Strengthen Local Democracy, along with local elected officials as well, with a Q&A as well with a moderator who is versed with some of the implications of the proposed amendments. Proposed amendments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're recognized. Yes.
This is fun. Okay. So just briefly, Councilmember Mealy's office is having a shredding event on Wednesday, October 22nd. It's going to be on Thetford Street and Pitkin Avenue at the cul-de-sac from 9 a.m. to noon. You can bring all your papers. Get rid of anything that has your personal information on it. This is for protection of your identity, so you can come and shred everything you got. Then we have every Friday currently at Mount Ararat Senior Center from 2 to 3:30. We do boots on the ground, so you can come and learn to dance, sing along. They have fun every Friday. And that's at 1630 St. Mark's Avenue at Mount Ararat Senior Center. And then we'll be having 2 oath resource events at our public libraries. There's going to be 2 in one day. So Wednesday, November 19th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Saratoga branch, which is at 8 Thomas S. Boylan Street at Macon Street. We will have oath there. If you have summonses for your property, for your personal self, you can come and they'll talk to you about trying to figure it out. They also have another one the same day from 1 to 3. Again, that's Wednesday, November 19th. And that's going to be at the Stone Avenue branch, which is at 581 Mother Gaston Boulevard. Again, both will be there to answer any questions. That's it.
Thank you. Member Busrath.
Just want to share this past Saturday in collaboration with the Bedside Gateway Bid. We hosted a Sustainable Saturday. We do this twice a year. We collected about 4,000 pounds of paper waste and about 6 tons of electronic waste from neighborhood residents. And we're happy to see a couple of neighborhood residents who actually work for the Borough President's office show up. So that was good. Also, with colleagues from CB 16, 8, and 5, I believe, we'll be hosting our annual Veterans Day, Veterans Parade on November the 1st, Saturday, on a Saturday. The march will go up Ralph Avenue, right, Ms. Woods, right, up Ralph and down Fulton Street, ending at Restoration Plaza, where there'll be a resource fair.
Wonderful. Thank you for that update. Are there any other member updates? Seeing none, we will now move on to Borough Hall.
Okay, so we have a few items for updates. First off, the community board member workshops have started. Last week, we had the SLA workshop, which was attended by 115 community board members. And I think everyone could say that it was a really valuable use of time. Upcoming on the 23rd of October, 6 p.m. will be Office of Cannabis Management. On December 4th will be the Independent Budget Office. And January 26th, we will be having our ULURP in-house training. These workshops are really important, especially for the new members or members who haven't really been exposed to these applications. It gives really good foundational knowledge. Also, the CEC, and I'll be sending this out, we'll be having 3 workshops this fall. One is voting rights for people with disabilities. One on the use of social media as a resource for your boards. And another, the third, is on language access. And those workshops are being offered both virtually, both lunch hour and in the evenings at 6:30 p.m. So 12 to 1 and 6:30 p.m. so that everyone can have a chance to attend these workshops. Then we have the big workshops. Community board applications will open soon. We're opening it up very early this year. So that means that we will not be extending the application deadline. Please inform your members who intend to reapply that they need to do so before February 6th. This year, we're doing something different to encourage more diversity of applications and to increase the number of applications in boards in districts where we don't get enough. We're going to be hosting a pre-application workshop series. It's going to be interactive. We plan on them being about an hour long. The presentation itself from us should take about 30 to 35 minutes, and the rest of the time being devoted to a little scenario, CB scenario sort of thing to let people see how they can participate in the meeting. We're doing these so that we can also let people know that boards are accessible for everyone, that everyone is welcome, because many people still think that community boards are only for special people and not open to the general public. And so we're trying to get rid of that notion. Yeah. And then okay, so that is all from our office for now, and I'll turn it back to Spencer.
Right. We have two unfinished items of business from our last meeting. They are both voting items. They both are. Hold on, I'll get to you in one moment. I recognize you, and I will. But if you could leave it up, it'll be a great reminder that I can come back to you. So we have two voting items that both involve Prospect Park. Historically, that would mean that Community Board 6, 7, 8, 9, and 14, as well as Council Offices 33, 35, 39, and 40 would be voting on this item. I will read both items and then I will recognize members that have questions, or we will proceed from there. First voting item is proposed reconstruction of the sidewalk at Prospect Park Grand Armory Plaza from Plaza Street East, from Eastern Parkway to Vanderbilt Avenue, and Vanderbilt Avenue from Plaza Street East up to the Bend. The second voting item is a proposed reconstruction of the Parkside restroom into an all-gender facility with shaded rest areas, water fountains, and informational displays. I will now recognize Member Scappo.
Simple question. Carolyn, you mentioned October 23rd for the cannabis. That will be virtual. Are you going to be sending out an email that we could share?
Yeah. I already sent an initial email as part of the reminder for the SLA, but I will send another one 2 weeks before the actual session.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Member Baptiste.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In accordance with the bylaws which we recently amended, one of the items that we had changed was to allow for certain matters to be designated as borough-wide. And I think in the spirit of Prospect Park, especially in light of the conversations we've had, this is a borough-wide concern. So at this time, I'd like to place a motion on the table to consider to designate those two voting matters as borough-wide and allow all chairs to vote on those matters.
Okay, we will now open for, before we open for discussion on that item and seek a second, Member Campbell, did you have another point to make?
Just to a point of clarity that the voting item number 2 referred here as the Parkside restroom also includes the Shirley Chisholm Pavilion.
Thank you for that clarification. We will now open the floor to discussion on these items as their relevance to interest borough-wide. Is there any
point of order? Do we have a second?
I'll second
Second.
it.
Ah. Thank you, Member Scalo. Any discussion on this item, these two voting items as they relate to borough-wide interests? Seeing no additional discussion, would you like to make a motion, Member Baptiste, to consider this item for votes by all members?
I thought he did.
Well, I think the motion is on the floor, so I would just ask for common consent if, if there's any objection.
Okay. Hearing no objection, we will now proceed to a vote on these items of borough-wide significance. All those in favor of voting, opening the voting to all members of the Borough Board for these two items, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One opposed, that is CB6. Any abstentions? We have CD50, Community Board 10, Councilmember Zhuang, Councilmember Hudson, Community District 35, abstaining, Community Board 7, as well as Community District 39.
34.
Oh, and 34. Thank you. With that, the motion. Okay, District 36 abstains as well. Thank you very much. Do you have the total on that? Okay. The motion passes. So we will now open or consider motions to move on item 1. You recognized, yes.
Thank you. I'd like to motion to approve the proposed reconstruction of the sidewalk at Prospect Park from Grand Army to Plaza Street.
Is there a second? Thank you. Motion has been seconded. We will now proceed with a voice vote as well. All those in favor of item 1, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I would also suggest for these types of voice votes that you can turn, and that also will assist us in recording your vote. Thank you. Okay. The item is approved. We will now move on to voting item number 2, the proposed reconstruction of Parkside Restroom into an all-gender facility with shaded rest areas, water fountains, and informational displays that also relates to the Shirley Chisholm Pavilion. So thank you for that amendment. Is there a motion for this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. Okay. We will now proceed to a voice vote for item number 2. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? CD 43, CD 41, CD 50. Are you also abstaining from this item? Okay, and CD 36. And CB 10. Wonderful. This item is also successful and passed. Thank you all for that.
Next.
We will continue to sort of refine our voting procedures as we go on, but I think that was very helpful. Thank you for obliging the use of the cards. It's very helpful for us for record keeping as well. All right, with that, we will now move on to communications and reports from subcommittees and other items.
particular benefit to the Japanese citizens.
Okay, we've been asked to make a statement on behalf of the Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board. Is everyone in here familiar with the swab as it's called?
Yes.
No.
No? Okay. So that's a good thing because I planned on giving a little definition of the swab. So the swab is a body that was created some years ago as a result of a local law, which required every borough to have one. So it is essentially a volunteer citizens advisory board that advises the borough presidents on policies and programs regarding New York City's waste prevention, reuse, and recycling. The Brooklyn Swab meets on the first Monday of the month here at Brooklyn Borough Hall and on Zoom. The meetings are open to the public. There are some boards that do not have, or some districts that do not have representation on the swab. And I will get that list to you after this meeting, but maybe you can encourage your members. It doesn't have to be a community board member, but maybe you can encourage your members to join the swab. But anyways, they'd like us to read this for you. The Department of Sanitation recently released its draft 2026 Solid Waste Management Plan that will govern New York City's waste policies for the next 10 years. Under the current comment schedule, the public now has 45 days to provide feedback on this plan before DSNY submits it to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for review. If you care about waste equity, the health impacts of our overburdened communities, commercial waste zones, New York City's goal to achieve zero waste by 2030, community composting, or the over $500 million a year New York City spends to export its residential trash to incinerators and landfill, we ask for your engagement. The Department of Sanitation will hold a public meeting on October 27th to provide a high-level overview of the plan. The Brooklyn Swab will be scheduling a public hearing shortly and invite all community boards to participate. We urge all community boards to assess their waste policy goals and engage. Please reach out to the Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board for more information at swab.brooklyn@gmail.com. Thank you.
Are there any additional committee reports at this time? Hearing none, we will now move on to our next agenda item, Principles of Urban Design, an explanation of New York City's urban design principles by Saji Golan, the Deputy Director of DCP's Urban Design Division, and Amrita Mahesh, Senior Leader in DCP's Brooklyn office.
Okay. Is this good enough? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Good evening. My name is Sagi Golan. I'm the Deputy Director of the Urban Design Office at City Planning. I would say I'm joined by Amrita Mahesh, who is a lead urban designer at the Brooklyn office of City Planning. And also in there on the side is also Bianca Bryant, who is also an urban designer working for the Brooklyn office. Fun fact, I'm also a resident of Brooklyn. I raised my two kids here, my two boys, and love living here. I also worked at the Brooklyn office for 7.5 years. So I love the borough. I'm very passionate about it, but I also work on the citywide scale, and which is a topic I'd like to present to you today. So the principles of good urban design is an effort of love that a lot of us urban designers have been working on for, I would say, for the past 10 years. And it culminated in a publication that we released over a year ago, which is available online as well, which we'll share with you the QR code, but it's also on our website. Culminated in a publication which is called the Guidebook, which includes a few, I would say, more plain language explanation of what urban design is, how we view it as in the city, what we try to do at city planning in terms of conveying urban design through the planning work, and also some resources, links, and case studies to show the members of the public, the media audiences that we try to engage, some examples of what this means. And we hope to actually expand on the case studies. We have 3 new upcomings. So today I'll give you a quick intro, a little bit about what urban design is in New York City. You might have a lot of questions about what urban design is, the principles, an overview of the guidebook, and hopefully you'll have some questions for us, which we're here to answer. So who are we? At City Planning, we have many professionals, but urban design is part of those professionals that are kind of sprinkled throughout the planning agency. The majority of them live in the strategic planning division in a kind of specialized unit called the Urban Design Office, which I lead. But we also have very talented. Oh, it didn't move. Yeah. So we didn't have. Thank you very much. I look at the page and then I'm like, it's moving for sure. You said it was going to move anyway. Anyway, we have also urban designers within the office, mostly in the borough offices, working on the day-to-day projects, private applications, neighborhood studies. A lot of them come through your respective boroughs, and they work with community members and council members and decision makers, and with the applicant team in trying to shape a better outcome for the project from an urban design perspective. So it's one component of the total planning objective of our agency. Our office, Urban Design Office, but also urban designers in the borough work on a variety of initiatives. It could be, again, private applications, seeking changes to zoning or rezoning or other actions. We work on citywide initiatives. You've all heard, probably you don't want to hear about City of Yes anymore, but we also have been working on the urban design elements and components of a lot of citywide projects. We work, of course, on neighborhood studies, worked collaboratively, me and Amrita, on Guanes. I'm very proud of what is building out there, but also working now on other neighborhood studies like Long Island City, Jamaica, and others as well. And then we develop tools and resources. For example, the Urban Design Principles is one of them, but we have in the agency a lot of other tools and resources and research topics that we kind of explore to ensure that our feedback given to community members, decision makers, and developers is actually in line with modern thinking about urban design, best practices, and others. And of course, we also meet you in community engagement, and we often craft civic engagement exercises. So for us, it all boils down to what we as a collective care about. And in the end of the day, we care about, of course, our city, our borough, our family, our friends. But in the end, it's people, right? So whenever we talk about a project, whenever we have a conversation about is the building this big or this big, we, in the end of the day, try to bring it back to the pedestrian perspective, to the experience of everyday New Yorkers from all walks of life, from all ages, because that's what we should all be care about. And a city that accepts everybody is a city that is accessible to everybody. And so apart from building housing, which is important, we try to think of other elements that support our daily lives in the city, which is one of our principles. What do you need? What do you need in our city to make the city feel welcoming and that the places that we are building or that others will build in your neighborhoods feel like it's an extension of your daily environment and life. And so it's really about how you interact with the city and that you recognize the city or a place that should be public without you even needing to look at a plaque that says that this is a public park, right? And those are things that are tangible, and we learn how to do them. And we try to make sure that all projects that can provide public components actually provide these elements, those cues that make you feel like that project is also giving something back to you. And it really is about that pedestrian experience and the elements in the public realm, like the buildings, the sidewalk, how wide the sidewalk is, the trees. Do you have tree? Do you have shade? Do you have a blank wall or a storefront alongside the street? And those are things that are really, really basic, but you'd be surprised how much work does it take to get certain developments there and making sure that they consider the right street as the commercial street and push loading to the side. These are really, really important elements. If they get it right, that project will give something back as part of a larger whole. And so we've developed this guidebook that is principle-based for many, many reasons, but for majority because you can't really distill everything to a set of like guidelines that are like this high or this tall. Our city is very diverse. And so this guidebook needs to acknowledge the fact that diversity of context, of people, experiences, needs, it needs to be reflected in this guidebook. So it's kept to be quite high level as a conversation starter. And hopefully through the principles, you'll be able to understand how different typologies, different buildings, different programs can give back to your community. And so those are a share of principles, values that we hope to distill in our city. The principles have been actually developed over the last 10 years, but the majority of them have been developed in the last 4 years. Through a multi-pronged approach, we had community board meetings, we had a website online with the survey, workshops. We also met with our interagency collaborators. We had public events, and you even set up stations during different public fairs and had roundtables with different professionals that actually deliver on these projects. And through the outreach process, we have understood that many different constituents can find their kind of shared language within this guidebook. So it's really meant to be for everybody, from members of the public, professionals, government officials, and of course, developers. These are the principles and I'll try to explain each principle in briefly, so we have some time for conversation. But the first principle, enhancing people's daily lives. The second principle is care for a neighborhood's history, culture, and identity. The third principle, embrace the city's dynamism. And the fourth principle, confront society's greatest challenges, right? So the first one really touches on what do you need on your daily life, right? To support yourself, your family, your loved ones, to get to your place of work, to get to a grocery shop, to get whatever you need on a daily basis. And so we chose, a public space here that was built in downtown Brooklyn that tries to achieve many of these things, not only just by the public space being at that particular location along Flatbush Avenue, but also now this is an outdated photo. Now we have the alloy block with the school fronting the plaza and a building that is being preserved, but also the location of the library, the location of a fresh food store, and then a plaza that is being activated by a bid and programmed, and over time becoming a part of your daily lives. So this public space is not just the public space, but it's also everything that surrounds it that supports a live-work experience. The second principle is the care for a neighborhood's history, cultural identity, and it touches on the fact that our city is diverse. We have existing networks and uses. Natural features and resources could actually be integral part of community character. And of course, that buildings and features and forms can contribute to your experience walking down the sidewalk. So for this one, this is a project that we worked with the Department of Housing and Preservation, located in East New York on the DOT municipal lot, the community lot. This is an affordable housing project built with modular construction. But what we really wanted to flesh out here is that the scale, the articulation, the work with the community, the workshops, the process that brought this project to be, it's not just about the design and not just about the fact that it has ground floor uses with community facility that actually was an outcome of direct community outreach, is the process that get the project done. The fact that there was multiple meetings between HPD and the community, a process report, an RFP, all of it brought to a project that in the end of the day delivers for a local community. The third process, Embrace the City's Dynamism, is really about trying to understand that the city is dynamic, it needs to change, it needs to grow. And one of its great strengths is that it's flexible, it's dynamic, it's creative, and we want to make sure that we capitalize on it as much as we can. And so for this project, for this principle, what we thought we could convey is that the Weeksville Heritage Center is a really interesting example of a project that builds adjacent to an old fabric within a local context that is low scale, and creating a facility that celebrates the neighborhood's history and culture and the significance of this historical place. And the last one is the big one that is quite elusive because it can come at different scale, but here is really about what we all try to do within our daily lives, but also the city as a whole, is really trying to confront the sort of society's greatest challenges. So that touches on resiliency, sustainability, the intensifying rain events, intensifying heat waves. So all of those things together, trying to address those in every scale of a project. And so for this project, we thought that to kind of bring an image of Gowanus, where through a robust community engagement process, this neighborhood plan is now showing the fruits of those public spaces being built alongside the canal. These public spaces are not only located on now remediated land and providing housing, is that the open space itself is reflective of the ecological history of a place, but is also performative by itself and provides information to the public about the nature of this open space and the history of the space. And we think this is a great example of how the city worked with community members, with design professionals and ecologists to actually bring a design vision the community needs into fruition. Okay, and then, so the guidebook generally is comprised of 4 chapters, which you can read through. It's hopefully in the plainest language it can, trying to not be too jargony, which we find a lot that it's hard to understand us. So we try to make sure that we are simpler in language. And so the first one is really what urban design in New York City is. The second one is the principles. And then after the principles, we have a few guiding objectives based on different themes, topic-based. So you can actually use it when you evaluate different projects through those lenses. So some questions that can be applicable to the different projects that you're working on. And then the principles in place, those are really the case studies. They include 5 case studies that are different than what I share with you today. And you could kind of reflect on different projects and their adaptability to what is shown in the case studies. And just again, we're releasing 3 more in the coming months. And then the 4th chapter is really linking you to resources, and a lot of it may be processes that you know about, but for other general members of the public, they might not be familiar with different resources that are available to them. At what time of the process of a development process of a building is it do they have the ability to make an impact or actually make their voice heard? And with that, I will leave you with a QR code and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm going to make you glad I don't come here very often. I appreciate this presentation, and you alluded to some of this. So I just wanted to get some clarity. First of all, I appreciate that you note that New York City is a city of neighborhoods, right? Like you talked about the different topographies and demographics and current housing and history of different neighborhoods. And you sort of said, and if you did, I agree with you, that the most important elements are best known at the local level.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems as though some of the subtext of what you were saying we do a lot of this, and City of Yes is a great example. Communities were asked to weigh in on fully realized plans and then bring their local knowledge to those fully realized plans. What do you do to sew in the value of local community input, not just in the reflection of a plan, but in the germination from the ground up?
Yeah, thank you for your question. It's nothing is perfect for sure, and all processes are different. One of the challenges with citywide projects is the fact that they are not always as nimble to those community needs. What I can reflect is on our processes for the new neighborhood plans, where we have a multi-pronged approach, where we have working group sessions that are open to the public based on topic. We have, of course, our outreach events. We have websites and other engagement events. So I can speak with my experience working in Gowanus, where we actually were able to integrate a lot of the community voices, whether it be members of the public or stakeholders, into the actual plan. But I agree with you that it's a little bit more challenging when you're looking at citywide lenses because of the scale of our city.
Thank you. I meant to squeeze in there that you should be looking at the district needs statements if you're not reading them already. There's only 59 of them.
I'm sorry if I missed this, but are there hard copies of the guidebook available, and can they be sent to board offices?
I can check if we have enough to send, but definitely thank you for the request.
I would also like to add if the slides can be sent to CB13,
Certainly,
and if we can get your contact info to discuss further.
for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Spencer, I guess we'll send.
The same for CB5, the information and your contact information. Thank you.
Just make sure it's sent to all.
Yes. Mhm. I love the question. I will start, I guess, and I'm sure you have some views. I think, as I mentioned, a lot of times you see a building, right? And, we often gravitate, is it too big? But what we try to think about for us is that as a pedestrian perspective, what you really experience is the first 3 to 4 stories. That's, there's science behind it. And most of us, when we walk around the sidewalk, that's what's important. So really try to think through what's on the ground floor, right? I know those streets more than anybody else. Are they proposing a curb cut in a specific location where I know that my kid is walking, and maybe if they have another frontage, move it there? These are really critical pieces to get it right the first time. Is the lobby should be there? Is the commercial space big enough to accommodate for a variety of uses? Or are they creating commercial spaces that might not be suitable for a wide tenants that you may know that are in need of a space in a community space? Are there community facility needs that can you actually make a connection between a community facility that needs a space or any other use that needs a space, then the building can give back. Those things really can contribute to how the building gives back. This is just an example of a building. Of course, when we're looking at larger scale, there are elements around if they're proposing public space, where is it located? Is it in a place that I can see it directly from the street? Those are really things that we look for, and you can too, because you know the place and you know where people walk or tend to walk next to the development. Amrita, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Absolutely. I think in our experience, even advisory comments go a long way. In many ways, our urban design review, we don't always have the ability to kind of codify certain things, but having conversations about certain key elements to a proposal, we find that property owners, developers, they are amenable to kind of being responsive, like accommodating these changes. So just talking about it, in my experience, goes a long way. And Member Campbell, you mentioned community district needs. That is something we look at very closely, especially when it comes to kind of capital planning concepts and when we're thinking about neighborhood scale strategies. So even through that lens, as part of your narrative, if you are able to kind of weave in some of those principles, it will really help us advocate for your communities.
Thank you for both those. Secretary Bradford.
I was hoping that I could use my preacherly voice, but my second question is, I think with urban design, oftentimes it's easier to focus on things that you don't like. And so what is the role of referencing projects that maybe missed the mark in ULURP to then say, as an example, we saw this building come up and we want these things to be better. There's certainly a lot of case studies around great design or like good urban design, but what role does sort of bad urban design play, and how can community boards sort of reference that and talk about the things that maybe have missed the mark, that aren't necessarily responding to community character?
I love this question. This is a great question. So I think officially we cannot trash projects. So let's just be honest. I think it's gonna be hard for us to like put on the website, these are bad projects, because then the architects that designed them will come and meet with us again and say, why did you badmouth my project? So for the sake of building relationships and building I would say, trust with the many stakeholders that we work on with, we try to not do that. However, in our internal resources, we learn a lot from what not to do, and we derive our principles and what we like to convey to applicants through these examples. And we even convey to them, usually from other architects, because they like to hear what other bad architects, like they were like, this architect is bad, so let's share an example of that. But I would say, generally, if you have an example of something you don't like, try to first cross-reference that you're not sharing a bad example from the same architect, and then bring them an example, right? We like this, like bring them a case study, bring them a mood board, right? Of things that you like in a neighborhood. And definitely reference things that you don't like and send them to a site visit and explain to them why you don't like a certain condition versus another. Okay. It's a great question, by the way.
Thank you very much for that response as well. If I could just ask, because I know that one of the difficulties we usually face as a board is that most projects don't get to us until they are way further down the line. So is there any point in terms of when these are up that the referral is made, or we have an opportunity to kind of have those conversations in terms of what we're looking at, aside from the district, statement needs? I mean, yeah, you can read those, but sometimes I think there's conversations that should happen that really give more of a flavor in terms of what the community is looking for, in terms of what the spirit of the community, and to the point, the history, the culture, and the things that would fit the best.
So part of the guidebook has resources on, when in the development project is it you have an opportunity to weigh in. I would say from city planning's perspective, once a PAS is submitted, I believe that is made public through ZAP. That I don't believe is getting notified to the community board, right? It's only when it's referred. Yeah. So only when it's filed, but the PAS is available.
The filed application is available, but I would say that even if projects seem fleshed out, they're still going through the permitting process. So it is an opportunity to continue to shape it when it's in front of you. But if we, as community board liaisons, for example, I'm a liaison to Community District 2, if we're aware ahead of time of your preferences and your sort of neighborhood specific sort of thoughts on the vision for kind of growth or any other sort of topic, that will help us advocate internally early, and then hopefully it gets to you in better shape. But I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a tag teaming and collaborative effort with us doing our work on our end, but also getting it in a better form before it gets to you, if that makes sense. I don't know if that helps.
Then if I could ask as a follow-up, and I think it's interesting. So if there are liaisons, is it possible if we could even be connected with those? Because I think it's possible for our land use committees to kind of convey them, and you can have those conversations. So when those things come across your desk, you already have a sense of what the desires and the wishes and the contextual things that the community would like in terms of any projects.
Yeah, we can relay that back. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again.
I had one. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes, I had one. I see
Member
you talking
Camacho.
much. I'm just curious. Have you ever conducted a survey where affordable housing or you can build homes, 1 and 2 family homes where people can live, and not big buildings where people can pay rent? Is there any structure in regards to creating an environment where it can come back to the way it was and not supersede the goals and saying that this is all big and we're all going to be renters and no one's going to own? Is there a vision in your plan or a vision that we can take back and say, well, everything can't be 95 stories high, whatever happened to the family aspect of living in the community with your family? We don't have roommates. We're not in college anymore. We have grandkids and kids. Some people do have dogs, but I have family and grandkids. So I want to make sure that they can continue to stay here. We're erasing history. You indicated there that history and the way it was, and but if I tell my kid that you're gonna grow up not living here anymore, what are you gonna say to that? What is it in your plan, and what is it that you see when you come and these developers come to you and you see something? You're telling us what we want to do when we see something high, but what are you going to do for us in regards to creating an environment where we can live and continue to live in?
I think this is an area where we try to work closely with the Housing Preservation Department on the home ownership component. There really is a concerted effort by the city to promote home ownership models, especially on publicly owned sites where possible. But in the more sort of general framework, I think on really large sites, we on our end try to advocate for a variety of building typologies, because we do hear from communities often that home ownership and having your own space, the 1 and 2 family home, is something that is important to folks, even in slightly more built up urban contexts. So when we do have the space, or when it's a multi-block development, for example, we try to accommodate those types of typologies, but could be at another attack.
And then I think to your point about the kind of neighborhood scale, I think I remember you from the Bushwick days. And I think one of the conversations really were about a balanced approach, right? Trying to make sure that where we have particular context that is low, we preserve that context, and we don't allow for large-scale demolition of homes. And where there is opportunity for housing, we can grow housing. So I think it's a balance. I don't think I have a magic answer, but it's really trying to, when we look at a neighborhood, trying to recognize the assets, reflect where, you know, there is context that is built intact, and we should not encourage with density demolition, and then try to shift density to corridors that are commercial or manufacturing, or along transit lines like Broadway, for example.
I'm going off of what he said, and just speaking for me personally. I'm a real estate appraiser for the past 22 years. Everything you're saying is destroying neighborhoods. I've watched it. I've watched the gentrification. I've watched seniors being forced out of their houses. Families are not being taken into consideration. I just came from Bushwick. Everything's changing. New York City, I'm 70 years old. New York City is being forced to get anybody family oriented, grandchildren, dogs, cats, family. The 1 and 2 family homes, 3 family homes are being destroyed. So, I mean, I think that it should be addressed. And I'm speaking for myself, not for the councilman, but I have an expertise in that area, and I cover Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan. So I see it all happening. I see what's happening in Jamaica, Queens. People are being forced out. So that's just.
So thank you for coming, but I have to say that I'm not in agreement. I want to start off with that, and I'm going to echo some of the things that Chairman Camacho brought up. I'm not 70. I am 53. And I've lived in the same area for 43 years. It's the area I represent, and I've lived, so background. I went to elementary school, middle school, in the same area. My kids went to school there. My family lived there. I have never seen in our area, especially in recent times, the concept of family dwelling. I've not seen it, maybe in other areas, but as soon as somebody sells something, a building goes up. I've not seen the Nehemiah houses back in the 80s. I've not seen, and I've done my own studies. And I've said to people, we keep hearing this concept that there's a housing crisis in New York City. It's not a housing crisis. It's the ability to pay rent crisis in New York City, because there are a lot of vacant apartments that can be converted to affordable housing, that we don't have to destroy the fabric of communities like ours that are mixed neighborhood, where hey, Miss Susan lived around the corner. I grew up with their kids. We went to the same school, et cetera, Y and Z. So proposal need to come to us that represents the family unit, that represents why I want to go stay with my grandmother and live there, as opposed to now my grandmother has a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment that she can't even climb the stairs for in case the elevator was broken. All right. And I think that's something that needs to be really, really visited. And I completely share. I mean, we need to have more green spaces, more parks, more things like that. All right. And really look at some of these spaces that are not being utilized and utilize them first. Make them affordable for people before we go anywhere else. So that's where I am with that. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I think you looked right at me. Okay.
I just want to echo what my counterpart said. Here, I represent CB5. We just recently had Totem come before us, and you guys know that Totem is offering 29 stories by Broadway Junction. You said that you learn off of principles and things, what not to do. In Starlight City, it goes up to the 20th floor. Why would you even allow them to come to you to present 29 floors at Broadway Junction? So in one vein, you're saying that principle and y'all learn what not to do, but it seems like you're not saying anything to the developers when they come to you with those ridiculous penthouse requirements. It's definitely going to change the way the community look. They had an opportunity to acquire some more property from a church, which we asked them to put housing, co-ops, something that you can own. But that is not in the plan. The plan is to put us on top of each other, no parking, and 375 feet studios, which is jail cells. Okay? So I plead to DCP, don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. Push the developers back to the drawing board when they come to you with that ridiculousness, with the height and the 375 jail cell studios for our seniors who can't even have a home attendant live with them because there's not enough room to put a bed, a table set where they can eat at the table with dignity. Think about all those things. That presentation looked pretty, but it's not factual and it's not reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to add that not only people are being forced out, but the support seems to be transitional living.
Yes.
You have studios in my neighborhood that are over $3,000. And I mean, that it just doesn't even make any sense. So where you have families, you know, my colleague mentioned about being in his community 43 years. I think it's unfortunate if your kids go to college and they can't come back and live where they were raised.
That's right.
And that's a problem. So you're here and we appreciate the presentation, but you really need to listen to us. You need to listen to us. That's just very important because and I can speak for a lot of my members, it just feels like this is just a formality to come before us. It's something you check off, but you really don't pay attention to what it is that we are saying. That's it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, everyone. I will also offer that there are a number of architects working in Brooklyn, in particular, architect Tink House that has been looking at multifamily, family-size housing and looking at how to make designs more habitable for families to think about party walls and open space and how you can do that in like a 4 or 6 or 8-story building. But in ways that are actually addressing some of the needs that families say that they want. So things like not sharing a party wall, which is the idea of not sharing a wall with your neighbor. So like some of those noise impacts that might happen in like apartment living, the things that people are sort of looking for that are in response to the 1 and 2 family housing types. I think there's a question of how can our city build more housing types that respond to those things that people want and need. Shared open space, quiet, privacy, access to light. It's all of those same components. And I would say that I would encourage all of you all in your community boards to push on applicants when they come in through ULURP to really like talk about some of these trade-offs. And so as an example, at the Herkimer Williams project, it's not just height that you all were talking about, it's the amount of commercial space. And so that relationship of if you right size the commercial space, the building gets a little bit smaller. If you think about a lot of comments around the public realm of what's happening, station improvements in that area, of like, what does that really feel like? And you can like point to things that you don't like, of like, a lot of these police vehicles are parking on the sidewalk, which is not an urban design characteristic that sort of lives up to those values, but is something that your community board mentioned, you know, pretty directly in your ULURP recommendation, which I think speaks to this, both the example of here's something that we don't like and please make it better. And so I see some of this conversation happening. Just as we review your ULURP recommendations, I do see a lot of this value coming through. Just want to see more of it. To the degree that you will talk about these things and put them into your recommendations, it really does help as the projects move along the process through council, through the city planning commission. So just a real take the time to get those additional points in your ULURP recommendations. It really does make a difference. Last comment on this item, Board Member Campbell.
That is all good stuff on ULURP, but the city of Yes and look out for charter revision proposals has made a whole mess of stuff as of right. And most of the housing that was developed in my district has been as of right housing. So there isn't that opportunity to weigh in on that. So the more we expand that, the more we're taking community input out.
Point is taken, Member Campbell. Thank you to our colleagues from the Department of City Planning. We look forward to maybe having you back to discuss some things. All right. With that, we are going to welcome a presentation. Yes. We are going to open now a public hearing on the Prospect Park Alliance. We're proposing reconstructing the Willink restroom to provide services and amenities on the east side of the park for visitors to the Carousel, Leopard's House, Zoo, and the park, generally by rehabilitating the existing restrooms. This will include updating the mechanical infrastructure of the building and making repairs to the roof to address leaking and the overall condition of the roof tiles. Repairs to the exterior envelope will address the preservation of the existing historic facades. With that, I welcome a presentation from Prospect Park Alliance.
Good evening. Good evening. My name's David Yum. I'm the Director of Preservation and Architecture for Prospect Park Alliance, and joining me is my colleague Rachel Pendleton, an architect for Prospect Park Alliance. So tonight, we're very excited to present the reconstruction of the Willink restroom. It's a heavily used restroom in Prospect Park, designed by the same architects as the boathouse. So that's Hubert E. N. Helmsley. We have currently raised 2.8 of the 4 million needed for a full restoration through allocations from city council districts 35, 39, and 40. Okay. So Prospect Park Alliance is a nonprofit organization. We work closely with New York City Parks, and our focus, really our mandate, is really to focus on Prospect Park alone. The location of the Willink restroom is located on the east side of the park, near the entrance of Flatbush and Empire Boulevard, near the Carousel, the Lefferts Historic House, and Prospect Park Zoo. The building is south of the park entrance with pedestrian paths on the east and west of the building, allowing entry on both sides. So as we see the building, you'll see that it has an open air portico in the middle, and you can approach it from both sides of the structure. The restroom was built in 1913, and these are historic views from 1934 and 1966. Historically, they were historically the restroom for the men's and women's area were separated. The restroom was reconstructed in the 1990s. You can see the state of disrepair back then, the roof tiles falling, and actually there are later photos where that central portion of the roof had actually collapsed inward. It was in this later period too that during this renovation of the 90s, the restrooms were consolidated to be all gender on one side, and the other side was dedicated to maintenance and operations to provide a place for Prospect Park upkeep. This is the restroom today. The 90s restoration did quite a lot of work to restore the building, but we're almost 30 years on from that, and it's a period where we'd like to do additional roof upkeep, repairs. We're beginning to see signs of moisture coming into the roof. Of course, keeping a building watertight is one of the most important things to keep it from deteriorating. The restroom is now closed. It's been on and off closed because water leaks into the building have forced us to have to close the restroom for maintenance and also repairs to the space. Generally, though, the facades are in good condition. We're proposing some minor restoration to some of the mortar joints and also basic chipping. And then here we can see this is really one of the jewels of Prospect Park. You can see the Gustavino tile, the green tile on the interior. It's one of the best examples we have in Prospect Park of this Gustavino tile, and it's still in really wonderful condition. We're just beginning to see signs of deterioration now, of spalling in one of the corners. And as we go through the rest of the conditions and more detailed plan of our repairs, I'm going to pass it over to Rachel Pendleton.
So now we're going to look inside at the restroom. The existing restroom finishes are in extreme disrepair, and the ADA accessible stalls are no longer compliant with current standards. So we also find that the maintenance trace, which you can see in the middle image, is very narrow and doesn't allow for park staff to properly maintain the plumbing and the restroom fixtures. And it's also consolidated to a janitor's closet, which we find to, again, be really narrow and inefficient for proper maintenance. So on the other side of the portico, we have the existing office room. The finishes, the lighting, the heating in the office are all in disrepair, and we would like to restore this space and provide a permanent air conditioning system for park staff can make use of the space again. They can use it for lockers, storage, office space. And while historically this portion of the building used to be restrooms, we believe it's important to keep this area as staff space. There are no other convenient landing spots in this area for park staff to manage operations, to store equipment, or to carry out maintenance tasks. So we believe that repairing this space is really critical to continue the maintenance and operations of the park in this area. Looking at the outside, the facade, the masonry, we'd like to restore these areas and conduct a full comprehensive cleaning of the facade, as well as repoint the base of the granite steps around the building and patch up these damaged columns that you see in that left-hand image. So we were able to access the attic space of this building, and we noticed that there was a lot of deterioration and moisture buildup of the wood structure of the roof. So what we would like to do to address this is we would like to install a discrete ridge vent along the top of the roof. And what this does is it allows for better ventilation of the attic space, so you're not seeing moisture buildup in the sheathing of the roof. You're allowing that air and moisture to escape through the top vent. Additionally, we would like to reconstruct the top few layers of the roof assembly to expose and replace any deteriorated sheathing. So that would be the membrane, the felt, and the roof tiles. So the current roof is near the end of its lifespan. As David mentioned, it's been seeing a lot of leaking and damage on and off throughout the years. So we believe that this full reconstruction would increase the roof's longevity and really allow it back to be this watertight, properly ventilated structure. So we would also like to restore the metal posts around the cellar stair, which you see on the left-hand side of the plan, as well as install a new security grate over top of it because the existing one is currently corroding. Would also like to reconstruct all the exterior doors, hardware, windows, and window grates, which are deteriorating. We would also like to install new linear lighting above the portico columns to illuminate the lovely Guastavino tile vault. And this will just provide some additional security at night for park goers. And then similarly, we'd like to refabricate the missing globe light, bring back to functioning globe lights in this portico. We also like to remove the existing display panels that are in the middle of the portico because they have not been updated or maintained since they were installed in the 90s. And then down in the cellar, that's where all the utility connections are and the boiler, which are functional. We will just be installing a new RPZ and new lighting down in the cellar space. So because the restroom is no longer ADA compliant, we would like to propose a new restroom layout. One side of the restroom, so that would be the bottom of the slide, that will have 2 all-gender stalls. And then the top portion of the slide will be an ADA/family stall with a changing station within it. And then additionally, if you can kind of see on the right of the restroom plan, there's an existing ramp. And again, we found that this ramp is not compliant with current ADA standards. So we'd just like to slightly reconstruct this ramp to have a shallower slope and bring it back to ADA standards. We also find that this reconstruction will allow for wider maintenance chase between the bathrooms, hopefully allowing for better maintenance access to the back of the fixtures. And just a quick look at our timeline, we're working through design development and reviews this year, construction documents next year, and hopefully to start construction in 2027. Thank you, and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. We will now entertain questions, comments from board members. Member Camacho.
I'm all for repairs, fixing. I just have a comment and to let the board know. From 1913 to 1990, 77 years. From 1990 to 1925, 35 years. What am I saying?
How long?
You guys are smart, right?
How long is this gonna last?
Exactly, and that's not my point. My point is if I own a home, I know if my roof collapse, or someone get hurt, you know who comes to my house, right? The city. They bang me for what? Not keeping updated, right? Not maintaining the sidewalk, not keep. But the city is allowed to do this. Now they want X amount of money. Where's the money come? Taxpayers or private entity? Or friends of, or someone giving money from friends of? Because if they do, I know a lot of parks in Bushwick that can use a friend of and get some money. So my question is not that. My question is, we know it's needed. Is there gonna be subsidies to maintain it? And because it ain't only cleaning and sweeping, you know, or changing above. It's if it's leak, a roof, you gotta have at least 2%, 20% down in the side. So if it does, you don't have to come back 35. They went from 70 years, 1913 to 1990 to 35 years. So that means no one, the city do anything to update and to maintain that. So here we are now.
Thank you for your comment. Can I propose a question in there of what's the useful life of this project? How long is this update anticipated to last in terms of like, what is the lifespan of a new roof and some of the other investments that you all are proposing to make?
The useful life of a terracotta roof is approximately 30 years. I think that I need to clarify the statement that the building has not undergone maintenance not only every year, but major maintenance projects approximately every 20 to 30 years since its inception. It is not true that the city neglected this building from 1930 to 1990.
What did they do? Would you know what did they do and what they replaced and how they fixed it compared to then and now? And then from 90 to 25, what did they do to repair it? I'm sorry, come on, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
We can get back to the council here with a detailed history of the renovation history. So I don't have that off the top of my head. But again, the roofs, a terracotta roof has an approximate life of 30 years. And so we know that in that interim, the roof has been maintained over the decades at key moments. Just wouldn't have lasted that long. But no, I don't have the history of the Willink restroom on the top of my head, but yes, we absolutely can send that history over.
Wonderful. Yes, you recognize.
The cost is 4 million. It's not a super large structure. How was there bidding going on for whoever's going to do the construction? Or is it no bid contracts and like prices? That's steep, $1 million of taxpayer money for a structure that size.
Yeah. So again, we're currently in design development, which means we understand the repairs that are needed. We understand what things we need to do to support our maintenance operations. We know what things we need to do to keep the water supply that comes from that restroom safe. That's the RPZ. So we're developing all of these details of the program, the list of items we'd like to do. Once that list of items is reviewed and approved by not only this body, but also landmarks, by also the Department of Buildings. We develop a set of contract drawings, documents, and specifications. And New York City Parks actually requires us to have it be an open competitive bid. We develop detailed cost estimates that we don't reveal to the bidders to already predict, based on current pricing, what we think the various items will be. And we use that as a guide to have a check on the open market bids to see that everything makes sense. I mean, we want bids that are competitive. It's a warning sign when certain items are too high. It's also a warning items when certain things are too low. And so it's not only competitively bid, it's bid with what we try to bring our own experience and intelligence that we're getting good prices. So again, the city compels us to have an open bid where we take the lowest qualified bid. So we want it to be built well. We want it to be built at a competitive price. Every dollar we spend, I take seriously as important money. You know, one thing I say to our group is, you know, every dollar we spend, we should treat it like our own, because it's our backyard as well.
Would you be able to elaborate on any of the costs that are associated, additional costs that are associated with sort of maintaining the historic nature of this property, any material costs that are maybe harder to come by, or additional attention to sort of building materials that are also included in that cost?
So it's a great question, because in so many, you know, Prospect Park has so many beautiful architecturally rich buildings, and in many cases, reconstruction, restoration is very expensive because some of those materials are very hard to replace, to refine, to upkeep. Willink is actually, I'm very lucky in this project because Willink actually does not have extremely expensive materials for us to replace. The terracotta is still used widely, maybe more in the Southwest and the West Coast, but terracotta is still widely used, and it is a strong, proven, and relatively inexpensive material. The stone facade is actually in really good shape, and so we're not replacing stone, we're actually cleaning it. There are some chips, and we do repairs where we replace certain pieces, and getting small pieces of stone is not the same thing as replacing parts of the facade. And then if I can go back to the slide, and maybe one of the most beautiful things we have, one of the big treasures, is the Gustavino tile. And because the building is still still has great bones, is in relatively good shape, all of this tile is very secure and preserved. And the one thing we're seeing that we really want to address as soon as possible, in that upper left corner, there's spalling. So that means some of the grout, some of the calcium in the cement is beginning to come to the surface and create that white cloudiness on the surface. And that's what we'd like to clean. And also it gives us a chance to sound it out, to make sure that it's still very solid. So in a way, this restoration effort now allows us to preserve this treasure tile before we have to go and try to resource it, before we have to go and try to find Gustavino tile, which we can't find. But what we would have to do, if we wanted to be true to the original building, the original gem, is reproduce it, and that is extremely expensive. So I'm so glad that we're able to propose a scheme now where we can begin to address that repair while we still can. It's sort of like spending our X dollars now prevents us from spending 15 times X later when it actually fails.
Member Campbell?
Thank you. It's gratifying to see that there's some asset catch-up in the park, in the sort of more southeastern side of the park to, catch up with some of the slopier assets up in the northern side of the park. So that is gratifying. As far as the frustration that we all experience when our own playgrounds out in the communities don't get the same capital love on a regular basis, I think deserves some advocacy for parks to have its own capital budget so it can do things based on need, not on the vagaries of who the council person is at the time. So I just wanted to express the location of this is a part of the park that needs a lot of capital love, and I'm glad that this is coming. I want to ask you if you consider this a time-sensitive project.
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Do you consider this a sensitive project, given the sort of level of dilapidation? Like, do you have to hurry up and fix it?
Yes, of course. Of course, it's relative. I don't need to address it next month, but we really need to address it really in the next 1 to 2 years. The most sensitive part was the photograph we showed you of the roof, and already we're beginning to see mold. And so no one occupies the roof. We're not worried about the health of the mold. No one's supposed to go up there. But what that's telling me is that moisture is being retained in the roof and it's staying there for a very long time. So the very next step to that, to seeing that warning sign of standing moisture is the actual breakdown and deterioration of the roof structure. So architects have a different timeline of urgency. I don't have to do it in the next 30 minutes, but I really need to do it in the next 2 years.
At this time, are there any additional comments from members of the board? Member Camacho.
Have you gone to the community board and did this presentation that's affect that area?
I can help that. Community Board 14 did receive a presentation on this for the Parks Committee.
Oh, thank you. And what was the outcome, if any?
Just to restate the question was, has there been a presentation to the affected community boards here? And I will turn that question back to the team here.
Yes.
Any additional comments? Okay, seeing none, we will now open the floor for any comments from members of the public who are in attendance tonight for this hearing. No one has signed up to provide testimony at this time. Has anyone that is here would like to provide testimony on this item, please make yourself known. Okay, seeing none, this public hearing is now closed. As a reminder, there does need to be a vote on this item. Traditionally, we would sort of wait until the next meeting to do that. However, just wanted to remind you that you can take a vote on an item and make a motion to do that on the same day. I'm not making a motion at the moment, just sort of clarifying sort of expectation or rules that we can proceed with on this item. Is there any additional discussion, conversation, motion? Hold on one moment. Member Daly, I see and recognize you. Please speak into the microphone. Yeah.
I'm sorry. If somebody would like to make the motion to move forward with a vote so that we don't come back next month for this, does it have to be city council and the boards affected? Because I believe only those boards can vote. Who can make the motion?
As we established earlier today, according to the new bylaws, any member can make a motion to suggest that the matter before the board is of borough-wide importance and as such can compel all members to be voting eligible. The two voting items that we had earlier in the agenda prior to your arrival today, that motion was made and all members present were able to vote on that item. So point of order from Member Baptiste.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to confirm, could we just change the bylaws? Can you confirm what the percentage is of the board that has to accelerate the vote? Because I think we voted that it can be voted on today, but it requires a percentage of the board to approve that vote.
It does. Let me confirm that. Can you give me one moment and I will let you know.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Your member is recognized.
Thank you. Just a question. You said that you secured funding from all three of the council members representing the district where the project is taking place. Did I hear that correctly? 38, 39, and 40?
That's correct.
Just again, another point of clarity. The roll call, I hear that you have to do roll call, but I don't think that answers Chair.
Yes, we are continuing to look on that percentage.
The percentage, not the roll call.
Yes, I
I think we
understand
do
the
have
procedure.
quorum. I could see that
Yes.
physically, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
right.
Just give us one moment. Sorry. Did you have another point, Member Baptiste?
Just once we get the clarification,
Okay.
I want to make the.
While we're looking at that, Member Camacho?
No, I just wanted to make a motion that we should vote on it today while we're going to bring them back. If everyone's here and we have a quorum, we can why make a vote.
Okay, hold on. While we're confirming that threshold percentage, we will table your motion for one moment.
It's unanimous, it won't matter.
I think you could.
We appreciate your patience. We can also proceed with the vote if there is a second and then determine whether or not that vote meets the threshold once we establish that as a point of order, if that is of interest. Just like noting
Second.
time. We have a second of the motion from Member Scavo. At this point, I will proceed with a roll call vote. And also, before I proceed with the roll call vote, is there a motion that this is of citywide, of borough-wide importance?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yes. Roger Daly, second.
Thank you. Okay. With that, Community Board 1.
What point of order? What are we voting on right now?
Oh, we are voting on this project proposed by the Prospect Park Alliance on the item that we just had the hearing on.
To proceed.
To proceed. Yes. Yes, that's correct. Thank you for.
Yes.
I appreciate you supporting your substitute teacher here. So, all right. It takes all of us. Thank you. Okay. We are going to proceed with the motion on the table that this is a borough-wide issue. We will do that by a voice vote. So all of those in favor of proceeding with this item as a issue of borough-wide importance, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Abstain from CB7. Okay. It has been determined that this issue is of borough-wide importance. We will now return to the motion to proceed with the vote that was put forward by Member Camacho and seconded by Member Scavo. That will be a roll call vote. we will now proceed with the vote on the item that we have just closed the public hearing on for the Prospect Park Alliance. Are there any questions before I proceed with the vote? Member Scavo.
Is there a reason we have to do a roll call? It's already 8 o'clock.
Okay. I have heard the question from Member Scavo on the procedure for the vote.
I made that second.
Having heard that, we will proceed.
Can we raise a hand? I mean,
Sorry.
can we do a hand raised vote if you don't mind?
What's her?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying to vote.
Okay. So the section of the bylaws reads as follows. Any matter on the agenda for the first time shall be held over for consideration at the next meeting of the board upon the request of any member, unless 2/3 of the members present and entitled to vote during the presence of quorum vote for immediate consideration of the matter.
So we voted.
That establishes the threshold that we need. So here. Okay. Yes, Member Daly.
I just want to clarify, I'm sorry. We do
No
have
need to
two
apologize.
votes right now. One, to see we vote on it today, right? No, that was to see if it was a citywide concern. Borough-wide, I mean.
Yes, you are
So we have to
correct.
do a vote to say whether or not
You are correct.
it needs to vote today to get 2/3. And then the third vote now is to proceed, is Member Camacho's vote.
Yes, you are.
Just want to be clear.
No, thank you. Thank you for keeping us honest here. Okay. Is there a motion? Go
I
ahead.
also asked if it could do the votes by hand raise, since you need, I guess, Euler processes that call in the roll call. Could do it by hand raise, which suggests the board or the city council member without the I vote. It actually gives the person directly.
Yes, you can also turn your.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to vote on this item today? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. All those in favor of all those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay. Now, is there a motion? We'll go back to the original motion to vote. Motion to approve seconded. Okay. We will use our placards for voting. All those in favor, say aye and also put your placard up.
Yeah.
Aye.
To approve.
And the
To
matter.
move forward with the project.
To move forward with the project.
And the matter.
Approve the project.
Any opposed? Are you opposed? Okay. These are votes now. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Any abstentions? All right. With a vote of 20 in favor, 0 no, and 1 abstention, the vote approves. I recognize. Yes. Oh, so you're an additional yes vote. And could you say your name one more time for me? Thank you, Sunji. So the vote is 21 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention. With that, the motion passes. Thank you to our applicant team.
Make us proud, David.
Thank you for listening to our presentation and hearing what we want to do, and thank you for supporting it so much.
Just hurry up and get it done.
8:05.
All right, we have a couple more items under other business. One of them, I am going to propose that we move to the next meeting, which is The expiration of our open meetings law hybrid provision is coming up, and we need to revisit that as a body. I think there might be some other situations or circumstances with this building that we might also want to take into account, just in terms of elevator access and other things, as the building is expecting some repairs over the coming months, that we'll want to make sure that we have a process by which all members can feel welcome and participate. So I would like to table that discussion to the next meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you. The next item is the November meeting date, which will be Thursday, November 6th at 6 p.m. So mark your calendars, Thursday, November 6th, 6 p.m. Let us know if you can't make it, but we hope to see you there, and if not you, another one of your designees. As a reminder. Are there any, yes, Member Baptiste.
Also.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just also wanted for us to revisit as a board, if it would be possible to publish the attendance records for the last, what did we agree on, the last 6 months or the last 8 months? If we could publish the attendance records for the Borough Board for the last 8 months.
And point of clarification, when you say publish, to where?
Well, actually,
Isn't it in the minutes?
so you found me out. I haven't been on the site. Okay, never mind. Withdrawn.
We could also sort of pull a record of the minutes from the last set of meetings and make that.
Well, actually, if we could do
it's on the website. Okay.
If we could do a report, I guess, in terms of, I think it is important that we understand who's here and who's not, and if the Borough President's office could actually send notifications to those who've been chronically absent.
Noted.
I second that. Hallelujah.
Yes. Noted. Are there any other items of business? Member
So
Bailey?
I have two things I want to bring up, three things. One, we are working with the council member's office, the assembly member's office, with the police involved shooting Sunday. It was very tragic, 28-year-old young man. And so we are looking into the information. We're working together as a community to pull that together. That happened actually right down from where I went to junior high school, which is at my 11. And apparently he was actually one of my former students as well. When going back, kind of dating me. Also, on a sad note, and her funeral is on Saturday. We had a long-standing board member, Miss Audlin Gallimore. She passed away a couple of weeks ago. We found out about her passing, and her funeral is on Saturday. If you or anybody from your community, is the Borough President's office or whatever the case, would like to attend, please do reach out to our office at Community Board 17. Speak to Sharif Frazier to get the information. You could pass it about. She was one of our most active member for a number of years. And the last thing, which is good news, right? I gave two bad news. I'm gonna give one good one. Next week, Saturday, the 18th, Community Board 17 is taking over close to CB9, but in 17, hint, hint, Chairman Baptiste, hint, hint, that we're doing a community fair. We're expecting, I believe it's 57 agencies or organizations, CBOs, to come out and flaunt their whatever to that event, to the community. One, we need our 4 city council members, our state electeds, our this, to help to promote it, our president's office, to help to promote it, to bring something back, right back to the community. And if you have not signed up yet and you have an organization that have something for the community, feel free. So again, that's 1018, and it's all day on Utica Avenue between Linden Boulevard and Church Avenue. All right, thank you very much.
CB9 will set up a table.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
You're recognized, yes.
Just wanted to provide a point of information. The attendance is published on the Borough President's website under the Community Boards Hub. There's a section on Borough Board, and it's the last published attendance is from May. So it just needs to be updated.
Okay. Thank you for that point of information. Any other items?
I second.
Wait.
There has been a motion.
Wait.
Yeah.
He had his hand up first, though,
Yes.
before the motion.
All right.
Oh, a couple of quick announcements. So I don't know if
Great.
many of you know Deidre Cheatham, who actually attended this meeting on behalf of Councilmember Banks' office, tragically and unexpectedly passed away last month. So her funeral was actually last week, Sunday. So just keep her family in your thoughts and prayers. And also, I don't know if Chair Lohman announced it, but we're actually working on a town hall to discuss the November ballot proposals. Very important, especially for community boards and council members. So just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And I know that I want to talk to also 16, 17, 18 about trying to see if we can do the same thing that we're doing in CB5 with Chair Lohman.
Wonderful. With that, there has been a motion to adjourn by Member Scavo. Is there a second?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No discussion. Thank you all for a long meeting. We'll see you next month
Oh, yeah, with 6-7.
on the 6th. Have a good evening.